What's that, Skip? Shauno's talking about Supercoach again. Let's go. G'day everybody, it's Shauno again, and I'm back with some more Supercoach content. Today we're going to be doing our round 10 trades and captains videos, and as you can see there from the thumbnail, where are the rookies? I don't know, we're going to have to see if we can try and find some, but before we go and do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Yes, hit that sub button, that would help me out a lot. Thanks for all the support so far, but if you aren't already subscribed, please do that, and a big congratulations to me, I guess, for reaching 500 subs. So I guess the next hurdle is to try to get to 600. And yeah, so thank you everybody for that. It has been an amazing couple of years of Supercoach content. So besides that, if you like the video, please like the video and leave me a comment down below telling me who your trades are this week and who you are going to go for your vice captain and captains. And one last thing, don't forget to join the Discord. Lots of very knowledgeable people in there if you want to have a bit of a chat about Supercoach. And you can also pop your team in the post my team here section, and we'll put your team up on screen on Thursday when we do our live video and have a chat about it. All right, I guess that's enough. Let's get into the video. Now we will start how we usually start with my trades so far this week. So last week we were going to do the double downgrade, and then we changed our mind at the last moment. So last week we ended up going Burton in, and also Hugh McCluggage in, and who went out? I think Sam Grill went out, and maybe McAndrew went out as well. I think maybe that's how I got that done. But so that went all right, and that allowed me a little bit of money in the bank, but not quite enough to do what I wanted to do. So this week, we've got Dev Robertson sitting on the bench, doing nothing, basically just using a loophole, but he's 250k. So 250k sitting on the bench, not doing anything, is hurting me a little bit. I think I could spend that money somewhere else. And we got Farrow, who has a break even of 80. And so I don't think with his current position at the Essendon and with all the other guys in that back line, and Archie Roberts pretty much like a big black hole sucking up the ball every time it goes back there, that he's going to get anywhere near that 80. So in comes Kalani White. Now, I'm not advising this for everybody. It just suits my team. So this is very team dependent, and it's not ideal, but I'll show you why I'm going to do it in just a second. And also Isaac Rankin. I saw his game last week. He looked brilliant in the midfield. He was everywhere. He's a goal-kicking midfielder, which we know in the likes of a Christian Petrarca type. Not that they're exactly the same type of player, but they can get those big scores. Now, he's probably going to have a few low ones as well, but he can get the big ones, and we've seen him be a top 6 forward before. It was either out of him or Zorko, and the fact that his break even is at 42, and Zorko's is more in the 80s, I figured I would go with Rank, and I know there are some potential tags coming up for Rank, but I'm not going to read into that too much. Like, he's got North this week. Does Finn O'Sullivan go to him? Maybe. And then after that, he has Hawthorn, which shouldn't really be a tag. And then he's got Geelong. Maybe Mullen goes to him. But in the long run, I think there's a very good chance that he's a top 6 forward if he keeps this CBA role. So the last 2 weeks in a row, he's had the CBA role of about 75% CBAs. And so hopefully he keeps it up, and we've seen he can deliver these big scores. It will be a bit of an up and down ride. If we look at my forward line, it kind of completes my forward line. I'm doing everything wrong this year. Normally you leave your forward line to last and you complete the midfield and the defense, which is what I see most good teams doing. So please don't copy me. There's a reason why I'm ranked 50-something thousand this year. But if all these forwards went off on their particular week, I don't assume anybody else has got them all. So I assume that that will give me a chance to catch up. It's just going to be a bit up and down, which we've seen from like Horn Francis, Pickett, who got the 65 last week. And I assume Rank is also very capable of dropping a 60 or a 70. But I'm hoping with that midfield role that his floor is going to be more like a 80, which is what he's put up in years past. But even in years past, I don't think he's got as many CBAs as he had over the last couple of weeks. So I like the look of him. A little bit worried about the tags, but I think that is fine. And if there is a chance that I could still afford to get Zorko next week, depending on how much Selwood goes up and if I can find a rookie and make some money somewhere else, there is a small chance that we could get Zorko again next week. So the other reason I'm going these trades is if you look at so down here where Duff Tyler that's where Dev Robertson was, where I've got Kalani White at the moment. So yes, I've got a lot of non-playing rookies, which is really hurting me because I'm not making any money. But I don't really see any rookies this week, which I like. And we'll get to that in a moment when we go through the potential trade in and outs for you guys and girls out there in the community. So for me, getting Kalani White, it made me 150k, lets me get up to rank. I can't do that getting in any of these other rookies which are coming in this week. But plus, it offers me a little bit of coverage for the forward line. Duff Tyler, I could swing him to the forward line if there was an injury. Say, I don't know, if Pickett did not get suspended, but if he had got suspended, I could have covered him there. Plus, I've got Philippou down here, which can cover midfield and forward. The only place I'm a little bit short, that means, is in defense. I have no playing rookies last week, kind of hoping that Todd Marshall comes back this week and gives me a little bit of coverage in the back line, and that would make me happy. But if he doesn't, you got to look at the state of my team. It's pretty poor at the moment. We've got Jakes, which is not playing. Marshall didn't play last week. Anderson's doing okay. Looks like Sharp could be out for anywhere between a few weeks to the rest of the season, depending on whether he gets surgery on his shoulder or not. Burton's playing, but you don't really want him on the field. And then I've got a non-playing, a playing, and a non-playing. And Tyson Edwards, I noticed, kicked 2 goals in the VFL. Don't really understand Brad Scott. He's ruined half my rookies in my team. Why he didn't just play him up forward. He's probably good for a goal to 2 goals a game. But Brad Scott doesn't seem to like his team getting goals, I guess. So why not drop him and let him go back to the 2s and kick the goals back there for them? Same as I'm sure Brad Scott might hurt me this week with Sharp going out. Oh, he could even bring in Sardis, who is the one that I got out last week, who I traded Burton for Sardis last week. That's what I did. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back just to give Shauno another headache. So that's why I'm doing that. The other reason I'm going rank over Zorko is because, like we've discussed, my overall ranking is disgusting. And so I'm really concentrating on my league. So I've gone forward and I've looked at the teams during the buys that I'm playing. And I noticed that the guy who I'm playing in round 12 has 6 out in that round. And even if I get rank in, and it looks pretty disgusting with these 4 guys out here, so I'll have 5 primos out. He already has 6 primos out for that round. So that was something I said, okay, I guess I can afford to get him. And the guy who I'm playing in the round with Zorko's buy has no primos. And I've already got my cluggage in that round. So I thought that maybe, actually, I think he might have a Sydney guy. And Sydney play that same round. So if I only have my cluggage, I have a better chance of beating him too. So I'm kind of looking ahead a little bit. And again, that's why I don't mind the tag so much, just because when I play that particular player, it's not going to make, a big difference. Anyway, that's my thinking. Do I advise other people to get in a non-playing player? Definitely not. There's surely, hopefully, there are better options out there for you. That says Pickett. I thought that said Kalani White for a second. So that's what my team is going to look like. I won't go into all the buys, but I'm really planning to hopefully win most, if not all, of my buy round matches, and that will put me right up the top of my leagues, or back in a contention anyway. And so I'm planning for that with anyone I bring in at the moment. And you guys should also be planning, even if you're not looking to win your leagues like me, but the round, if we bring it up, the round 12 buy and the round 16 buy are pretty nasty. So for most people, so you definitely should be paying attention to who you're bringing in and how many people you've got on that buy. I also, this round here, round 14 buy is also quite nasty for me as well, where I will have, I think it's 6 at the moment. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Who else is there? 5. I got 5 out for that one. 6, including Jackson. 1, 2, 3. So I've already got 6 out, which that could be a nice excuse for me to upgrade one of these, Clark, Houston, or Dacos, whichever one is being the more pathetic at the time. They're all pretty pathetic at the moment, but whichever one has been the least pain in my backside might get upgraded to a Whitfield or Archie Roberts, as I am missing the top 2 defenders at the moment, and it is hurting my team scores overall. And I think there's very little chance of me even winning either my leagues or moving my score up in the rankings if I don't get at least one, if not both of those guys in my team by the end of the season. Considering though I've only got 18 trades left after this week, that could be easier said than done. So let's have a look for you guys and girls out there in the community. Who could you be looking at? So I've brought up all the rookies here. Now, before we go into them, I'm going to say that I don't like any of these rookies. And I think this is a really good week that if you can, maybe not trade at all. If you've got a bit of money in the bank and you could go like straight up from a player, like say you could go up from a Bruin to a Primo, or if you've got, like I just got rid of Farrow, if you've got a Farrow or Grill and you can go straight up to a Primo because you've got a bit of money in the bank without doing a downgrade, this is a perfect week to do that. Do the one trade, don't get a rookie, because the rookie cupboard is bare. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on these rookies and take it or leave it. But yes, my personal opinion is none of them are going to be any good. None of them are really going to make you more than 100 grand, and a lot of them are going to end up to being non-playing players on your field, which is why I'm not too worried, even with my disastrous cash generation, of swapping one non-player for another non-player, because I would have had to make that trade later on anyway. So, like I said, I don't really recommend it for you guys unless you're in that exact same situation that I am, where you have a ruck with dual position status that you're using, like a Cooper, Duff, Tyler. So Liam Henry, he's probably the pick of a bad bunch. Maybe, there are 2 players out of St Kilda that could trouble him for his position. They are Liam Ryan is out injured, and also the other guy who I always forget. I called him Jack Ross yesterday, but that was incorrect. So if we look at the injury list, Jack Higgins is who it is. So they're both due. This is not this week's, this is last week's. So Jack Higgins concussion, that's last week. So he could be okay to play this week. And also Liam Bryan hip cork. So he could be okay to play this week. And if not this week, maybe the next couple of weeks. Now, do they take his position? I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe he keeps his place in the team if he plays well. Maybe not. I don't know enough about their team structure, and I'm certainly not living in Lion's Head, thankfully. So out of a bad bunch, maybe it pays off, but maybe not. Maybe he gets dropped if as early as this week, next week, maybe the week after. And with most rookies, we say we want them to earn 100 grand minimum. And this year, the rookies have been so good, we've been earning more than that. But I don't think I'm getting in a rookie who's going to earn me like 60, 70, 80,000 just for the sake of it. I'd prefer not to trade if possible and save those trades for, you've got the mid-season draft coming up where you might get some 99K rookies, and also those trades, you might need those trades during the buy period. And you don't forget, you're going to have 3 trades during each of the buy rounds. And if you got a boost, that means you could potentially have 4 trades during a buy round. So if there's good rookies at those times, you'll be able to snap those up. So saving a few trades now this season is not a terrible idea. So then we go down to the next one, Liam Reedy. I kind of said to people, don't do this, and I'm still on don't do it even if he comes back. When he plays with Pitnett, he just doesn't score. He's not a very good forward. He doesn't kick goals. As a solo ruck, fine. If Pitnett went down and was going to be out for like 5+ weeks or 4+ weeks, you could definitely go there. But as a dual ruck situation, definitely not an option. Toby Murray is another dual ruck situation. He just had a couple of decent games, but I don't think I would go there either. Supercoach had a bit of an if. So he's got a couple of 70s, but before that is a 40. So I wouldn't be surprised if 70 is like the highest you'd expect to get out of him. So I'm not really interested in there. Let's go back. The filters have reset itself. I just said anyone under at about 250, and we went by cash cows. So Arthur Jones at 207, I think we've missed this boat. He's a small forward. He's not going to make very much money. Will Lewis, that's a no from me. Lachlan Smith, you might say, Sean, why don't you get this Lachlan Smith guy instead of Kalani White in the ruck? One is because he doesn't have DPP status, does dual position status. 2 is because English went in under concussion. Now, English has had a few concussions, so he could be out more than the 1 week, but he could actually be back this week, and more than likely, he could be back the week after. So at best, you might get 2 price rises out of him. And so I don't think you're making that 100 grand that you would really want. And then again, you're going to have a non-playing player on your field. And I believe Bulldogs don't play many late games, many Sunday games. So it's not going to be very useful as a loophole. The best teams, I believe, for loopholes is West Coast and Melbourne. And it might be St Kilda as well. I have to check that. But I remember I looked at the beginning of the season. Definitely Melbourne and West Coast played the most Sunday games. So Jordan Boyd is a no. Flynn Perez may come in for Barras, who is injured with a hammy. So you might get a few weeks out of him, but will he make you the money that you want? Say you get 3 weeks out of him and he scores you, let's give him 55. Let's be generous and give him 55s. Considering he's gone 50, let's give him a 60. He's gone in between there, so let's give him 60s. Even if he goes at 60s, he's going to make about 70,000, 80,000. So he doesn't hit that 100K mark that I'm looking for either, buying him in at 150. He will give you coverage, though, if you're desperate. If you've got, say, NASA's being left out as well, again this week, and you don't have any cover, like I would have if somebody was left out, he could give you cover. But don't forget, we still have the flex position as well. So, that player will step up for you if you don't have any emergencies in one line. As long as it's not over, you don't have more than one in, over multiple lines, you should be fine. Will it affect your score? Maybe a little bit, but, it's been a rough season. So Paddy Cross, a little bit of talk about Paddy Cross. Job security, I can't say that I know too much. He's got 2 30s and then a 70. That doesn't fill me full of confidence. Again, even if he went at 60s, he would have to do that for quite some time. I believe when I did look at the injury list, there were people that I thought, you want whoever rookies I get now, I really want them to be there until their bye. That's the plan. So even if he stayed to the bye and got 60s, 70, 80, he would just make 100K. Actually, a little bit more. He would make 130K, but he would have to get 60s. And he's got 230s. If he dropped another 30 this week, that'd be a disaster. If he drops a 30, say he drops a 35, all of a sudden his cash gen dries up, and then one of these is a 45 or something, and all of a sudden that 100 grand turns into 60 or 70 grand. And who's to say he's going to hold his position in the team? If we look at Melbourne's injury list, again, this is last week's, not this week's injury list, so keep an eye out for it. Aiden Johnson, hip groin test. He is a forward, isn't he? But you don't think he's been getting a game this year. Jake Melksham, 1 to 2 weeks. He could come back into the team, you would think. Brody is definitely going to take his spot if he comes back, but that's 3 to 5 weeks away. And so there are a few players there who could take his spot. So I don't know if I'm very confident in him holding his spot either. Again, maybe it's a question for some Melbourne fans out there. If you're a Melbourne fan, you let me know down there in the comments what you think. Some people are talking about William Edwards. Again, also injury. If we look at the injuries, for Sydney, defenders in Sydney. Okay. Tom McCartan, knee, 1 to 2 weeks. Maybe he takes his spot. So again, I'm not super confident in him. Maybe he keeps his spot, but he's at that higher price of 152 or 158 as well. And he's got a 45, a 54, and a 61. Not filling me full of great confidence. Again, if he comes out and drops another one, if he goes at 45 as an average for the next few rounds, he's not even going to make, 50K. So again, one that I'm not really sold on. Now, Wade Dirksen, talk about, he did kick 5 goals in the Carlton reserves in their VFL team. Maybe he gets a call up. Now, if he did get a call up, this might be one that I might get instead of the Kalani White, just because he offers me a little bit of coverage there in my back line. How long he would be in for is a good question, and I can't answer that question. Just the fact that he's a 99K would make me a little bit more obliged to think about going there as opposed to someone like a, William Edwards. Is the only thing would get me interested. But I still don't love it. And I don't think as a forward, if he comes in and plays as a forward for Carlton, he's probably going to get a very low score. So, 30s, 40s, 50s is probably what I would expect. So he has to be 99K to make that worthwhile. Like if he could just go, they're giving him 30. If he could just go 45, and that would take him up to his bye if he could stay in the team. That would be 50, 60, 70, 80. That's about 80K. So he wouldn't have to do much to make that 80K. But again, he doesn't quite hit that 100K that you would want. But if he did snag a few goals and maybe got a 65 in here and one of these other ones, and say he could get a 50 here, he could get to that 100K. So I could consider him if he comes in. But again, I don't like it very much. And then there's pretty much no one. There's just no one. So, yeah, I'm sorry if you're looking for a rookie this week, but there's just not a lot out there, and I really can't recommend any of these guys. Did we say Joyce, just don't go there? Joyce, there's so many backs coming back for Brisbane that Joyce is probably going to be dropped this week, and if not, it'll be the week after or the week after that. So, again, you'll be left with, you'll trade him in, you'll get nowhere near your 100 grand, and you'll be stuck with a non-playing player on the field. I really think this week is a great week not to downgrade. If you're going upgrading, fine, you got the money to do it, not a problem. A lot of content creators will tell you you need to go up and down every week coming to the buys. It's not actually true. If you want some trades left at the end of the season, this is the perfect time to save a couple of trades. If possible, if no rookies stick their hands up next week, I will be looking to do that myself. Bank a couple of trades. You're going to want to use them during the buy period. That's when you want to jump on players after they've had their buys. So having a few extra trades compared to the rest of the community, which are burning through theirs like fire, like I am, is going to be a good thing. It's not going to be a bad thing. Yes, maybe your score might be a little bit down that week, but being able to jump on some, you got a boost left, or to do 3 trades to go 2 down and 1 up to an absolute gun, like maybe gets you Tristan Sherry after his buy in round 12, or whoever else you want, comes off their buys, you jump on them. Dacos has his buy, he's gone down, you jump on him, So having a few extra trades or saving a few extra trades this season is not a terrible thing, especially if you're not shooting for the top, 100 or the top 10 or the top 20. What does it really matter? 30 points less or 40 points less in a round is not going to make you drop, tens of thousands of spots. You're going to be, just fine, and you're setting yourself up for a good run at the end of the season. And I'll let you know right now, you will catch the people who don't have trades. If people at the end of the season have zeros, if you're worried about your overall ranking, there's a good chance you'll catch those people at the end of the season who have zeros. They've used all their trades, they have zeros, they all of a sudden, they've got zeros on the field. Their scores plummet, yours stay the same or go up slightly, and you will jump up quite a few ranks. So even an overall score, unless you're pushing for those top hundreds, I don't think it's a big deal if you're not going, down and up every single week. Sometimes it's just not possible. All right, now about the upgrades. So I think this is a lot more interesting about if you're looking who to get in. So we'll do it like we normally do. We'll start at defenders. So, excuse me. So we got Archie Roberts at 597. Now, these expensive guys, I'm going to say I would be waiting for them to come down, but I understand I would love an Archie Roberts and I would love a Lockie Whitfield in my team. And I considered pushing the boundaries and doing a boost to get Lockie Whitfield in this week. These two guys, I think they're going to be 1 and 2 at the end of the season if they continue this form, and you're going to want them. Another reason I didn't get Zorko in my team is because I'm leaving 2 spots open for one of 3 players: Roberts, Whitfield, and potentially Max Holmes. So they're the guys I would like. Whether I can afford them later on, it's going to be depending a lot on what rookies we see in the next few weeks and how much money they make for us. So Sinclair is at a good price now. I know he's been a bit down the last couple of weeks, but I still think at 530 you can definitely go there if you don't already have him. Luke Parker's been a bit down the last couple of weeks. I'm not too sure if his role has changed at all, or it's just, he was absolutely smashing it. So if you think he can get back to the glory days of this run of like 160, 92, 120, 120, 100, maybe go there. But with a 60 and a 94, I think it might be, he's got a break even of 151. So I wouldn't go there this week. If you like him, you could potentially get him next week or the week after for cheaper. And don't forget he's got that round 12 buy that might be a little bit trouble for people. Lockie Ash playing a little bit more upfield at 510. He still could be a good purchase here. Is he going to be in the top 6 like we all thought he would be at the beginning of the season? Maybe not, but he's at 5 at the moment, so he's going to be around that mark, even as a midfielder, I would think. So his 3 round average is 103, so it's still pretty good. 100. His 3 round average is 100, so that's still pretty good. I still think it's reasonable. Wayne Malera, again, that round 12 bye. He's been really good. We can't dispute after those couple of bad early games, he's been really good. Callum Wilkie at 500k. Obviously, you're not getting him after this injury-affected score, but in a few weeks, maybe someone to think about. Again, he has that tricky around 16 bye this time. The round 12 and the round 16 byes are going to be the tricky ones for most people. So just check before you trade these guys in. But he's a good price. He could be as low as 450. So at 450, he might be someone who hasn't scored less than 100 except for once all season. That, if he comes out, let's give him 100 and give him 105 when he comes back. He's at 440k. So at 440k, he might be one of these ones that, if you can't afford, like me, you might not be able to afford the Whitfields. You might not be able to afford the Archie Roberts. Maybe a Cal Wilkie will be the way to go at 450. Nick Blakey, 500k, seems pretty reasonable. He's got a decent buy. Seems good buying at 500k, so I could definitely get behind that. Bodie Ewan, he's been having a pretty good season, I believe, has he not? 122, 100, 107, 70, 70, 108, 137. If you wanted a bit of a pod, maybe as a pod, you could go there. Josh Worrell, I don't think I would go there. He hasn't shown what he has in the beginning of the season. Less like we saw him get some form back. He's still got a break even of 100. He's at 450. So for the moment, I'd be saying no to Worrell. Jordan Clark, definitely not. Dan Houston, definitely not. I own them both, and I hate my life for having them. Bailey Dale, I think you missed the boat. He will have up and down games. He's been on a bit of a streak. I think he will come back down at some point. But yeah, he's just been on a bit of a burn the last 4 rounds, but he's more than likely to drop one of these 50s or 70s at some point. So if he's someone you really want, you'll probably get him cheaper later. Now, there's only Nas could be out this week, so I wouldn't worry about that. Stewart, down to 430 now. The people that brought him in were really unhappy. So keep an eye. Is it Henry, they said, that really affects it when he's not in the team that he has to play? I forget who it is, but when another back comes in, Stewart gets to freed up more, and when he's not in, Stewart has to play defensive. So keep an eye out for that. Ask your Geelong mates who I think it could be Henry. Let's have a look. Is he on the injury list for Geelong? Jack Henry, I think it is. When he plays, it could be a good thing for Tom Stewart. Now, where's the man that I don't think there's anyone else except for the man, which I think a lot of people should be interested in. The one that I was kind of interested in. Can't seem to find him, so I'm just going to go look him up. Probably went straight past him. Zorko. So I think this is a risky but a good pick. It is risky. He is an old man and he does have calf issues. Season stats. Here we go. So, but he has got potential to score really well. He has in the past. And, you can see from these scores, he's 131, 100, 96, 111. And he's got his injury-affected 38, 108, and 86. So, he can go big. He's at 458. His break even is at 83. So, he's not going to get away from you, which is why I'm not going him this week. Sorry about that. Yes, so Zorko, very good pick, good price, good buy, and I think a little bit risky just due to injury and the fact he could be rested later on in the season, but he does have a pretty, not a high impact as in the way of for his body role there in the back line. So I think he's a very invalid pick this week if you wanted to go there. At a break even of 80, even if he scored a 120, he's only going to go up 20 grand. So you'll still be, less than 500 next week. So if you wanted to have one more look at him, let him have another run around, see how that calf looks, I totally understand. And that's what I'll be doing. All right, so let's have a look at the midfielders. So I think there's a few that people are really like. If you don't have Marcus Bontempelli, this is the time to get him now. I know he's over 600K. I probably wouldn't be buying anyone else over 600K unless it's a ruckman. But Marcus Bontempelli, we saw what he did last week. Injured, gets 163. So, definitely get there. Shai Bolton, I just can't recommend this pick. He is an up and down pick. He's been doing very well, but now he's at 520K. When he was at low 400s, sure, but I think he will have a few stinky scores and go and move back down again at some point. So if you really like the idea of him, you can jump on him then, but I don't think I'd be recommending anyone to get him on him now. We should be probably talking about him in the forward line anyway. Butters, like Heaney, great, but expensive. Lockie Neal just keeps performing every week. So at 560, plus he's got a good buy. Maybe you do want to jump on Lockie Neal. He seems to be at only 9%, he seems to be very much overlooked this year, and he's having a great season. His overall average, he'd be close to, he's not quite in the top 6. He's 12th out of everybody for his overall average. So that's not bad. That's not bad for the midfielders. Bailey Smith, again, expensive, but great player. We'll skip these forward guys. Max Holmes at 579. So with a potential, no guarantee, but a potential of him getting DPP status in the back line, I could totally understand if you're going to go at him at this price. He's got 110 break even, so you can potentially even take a week and look at him. His scores haven't been as good as what they were when he plays in the midfield. So, in an ideal world, maybe he gets the DPP status and then he goes back into the midfield and starts scoring those big scores again. But I still think he'll be right up there as a top defender if he does get the DPP status. So at 570, I could totally understand jumping on him either this week or next week. Again, keep an eye on that round 16 buy. Zach Merritt has been a little bit up and down lately. Break even at 143, so I wouldn't go there this week. Maybe next week if you think he can recapture that form of the first 6 rounds. As Brad Scott, though, you never know where he's going to play him. LDU, I think got that round 12 buy, but at 550, he could be someone that you want to target after the buy. Probably wouldn't be buying into pretty much anyone in that round 12 buy at the moment. Who else? Ed Richards, again, round 16 buy. If he wasn't, I think he'd be a lot more desirable at 530. Clayton Oliver, a lower score this week, probably means he's got a reasonable break even, so you could get him a bit cheaper. Taranto, there is talk to people. You could potentially get Taranto for under 500, which could be a nice pod play for the end of the season. I think, again, he had a really good first 4 rounds. And then he's missed a few games through to injury and stuff. So I think that could be a cheeky pot if you want it. Noah Anderson came and got a 145. I'm one of the people that traded him out. So I don't know if I'd be one trading him back in. But if you could get this again, what's this break? He makes his break even 72. So I guess if you thought he's back, you could go there. But one score for me is not enough data to go. And Jack Steele, he's got a big break even. So any of these guys are big break evens, I wouldn't be going there. This is probably the one that most people will be looking at. Finn Callahan, I considered him. His break even is 85. I don't think he'll get away from you. He's only been scoring, around 100. I think he's only had one really spike. He's had a 120, a 124, and a 135. For a few spike scores, 100, 110, 120, yeah, 86, the 65, and the 66. The 2 tag games and a down game here. So I think he's probably when not tagged, worth like 100 to 120. Is he going to get the tags, though, is the question. How often is he going to be tagged? Now, the run-up, so West Coast, they tried tagging Cozzy Pickett. Do they try and tag Finn Callahan as well? Not too sure. Brisbane's probably a tough matchup. Melbourne, St Kilda, Carlton. So he probably doesn't have any proper tags coming through until this Freo, Geelong, Sydney end of the season. So he's probably got a fairly good run. And he's got a very good buy. But I think he's probably a very good pick. He's probably a very good pick. I'm not going to go there, but he's probably a very good pick. Caleb Sarong, one big good score back, but I don't think, considering he hasn't scored 100 for 4 weeks and then he's got 118, I don't think you could go there. And that's the midfielders. I think I wouldn't really be considering any other midfielders. There's no one else that's jumping him out. There's only the one. I will talk about him in the forward line. So there's one other that a few people are talking about. In the ruck, well, I think the ruck's down to 3 rucks now. Sherry, Jackson, or Grundy. If you want a ruck, you get one of those 3 guys. That's it. End of story. You don't go Gorn with the dual ruck anymore. Doesn't matter what price. I mean, unless he came down to less than 500k, then maybe you would think about it. But, those 3 rucks, they're scoring the most. There are 3-round averages. They're, 145, 143, and 125. So, if you want a ruck, they're the guys you get. Expensive, but they're the guys you get. I'm kind of thinking that maybe somehow I might try to get Tristan Sherry after his round 12 bye. Save all my money now, like help with this no trading or just doing downgrades in the next week or 2 if a rookies come available, and then potentially going, maybe going a Broon to a Sherry or something like that if I can work that somehow with the flex machine. Not the flex machine, the flex position. All right, so that's your rucks, and now we want to look at forwards. So forwards, amazingly, I thought Shea Bolton was there for. So Shea Bolton has taken the 3rd place of just because he with those big scores. Like, I still don't think I can pick him, but if you want to go there, I totally understand it. He's putting up some big scores, so I can totally understand. Just don't be surprised if he drops some of these 60s, but all the other forwards are doing that too. The one thing I am liking is that when he goes big, he goes really big. And so, it kind of, in some ways, these lower scores hurt, but if you were going for overall ranking, a really huge score is probably makes up for it a little bit, but I still don't like it. Pickett now definitely want to hold. He'll be nice and cheap in a few weeks' time, lower than 500k, which I think Shea Bolton will be as well if he drops a stinker. Zach Bailey is got, he could get that break even quite easily. So if you were still interested in Zach Bailey and you want to go there, that's fine. Took Miller is going to be right around his break even, you would think. So if you want to go there, it's fine. Justin here had a bad round. Still very doable at 450. Still getting CBAs, I believe. Just does drop a 64, but I think that's the story with all of these forwards. And the forward that I'm getting in, and might suggest to you guys, they've got low floors. When they get a low score, it's a low score. Now, you would hope that people like Justin here playing the amount of CBAs, he would have a higher floor, but he just doesn't seem to have it. Out of everyone, you would think he would have a high floor because he's playing a lot of CBAs, and he still can't get that low floor, which is a bit of a worry. So that's why at a cheaper price, I understand if you go there, but he's not for me as well. Sanders has been doing quite well. I don't know if he's a pick for me. Sam Flanders came back with a 120 this week without Nass in the team, which was nice. Hopefully he can get close to that again for the next few weeks. Horn Francis, well, I've got him in thinking that he was going to be right up there with these other guys, and he's dropped 270s in a week, and he's 142 break even. So you'll probably get him about 450, which is pretty much 50k cheaper than what I paid for him. So if you're interested, wait for him to potentially you already have his buy in the round 12 buy and then jump on him afterwards. And hopefully he'll have some form. I think he's the same as all these other forwards we're talking about. He can drop you a 70. He can drop you a 130. He just doesn't seem to be doing a 130 when he's in my team. Now, here's the man that looked really, really good last week. And I think if you're going for one of these cheap 450 forwards, this is the one to get on. One, because his break even is so low. Two, because his CBAs were really, really good last week. If we go to DFS and we look at his CBAs, now I watched this game. He was everywhere, and I didn't realize, but it's actually the last 2 weeks in a row he was ramped up to 73 and 74% CBAs. And the good thing is too, so Dawson didn't play any CBAs the week before. He played all behind the ball. This week, during the last quarter or the last half, he came and played 33% CBAs. They didn't take him away from Rankin. They took him away from Saligo. So that's a good sign. That says to me that they rate Rankin in the midfield over Saligo. And poor Josh Rosselli has had all his CBAs taken away, which I flagged going back quite a few rounds that could happen, and it has happened. So that is unfortunate for the owners out there. Now, the fact that if he keeps playing this role, I'm saying that he is another one of these forwards. He's not going to get 149 every week, but as you can see, the week before he got an 89. Now, I'm hoping buying him in that his floor might be a little bit higher than some of these other guys. Like the other guys are getting 60s and 70s. Maybe Rank's floor is an 80. And his potential as a goal-kicking midfielder is big. Just like a Shea Bolton or a Zach Bailey, but he's getting more mid-time than those guys. And a Justin McInerney, he seems to be, a better user of the ball and a more of a goal-kicking midfielder. So these are the guys that are going to be a bit up and down, but if they have a good game, it could be a really good game. And like we talked about, there is a worry. He's got potential tag, a hard matchup, and then a potential tag. So he might go up a little bit this round, but he might come down. You might be able to pick him up after his bye. So he's not 100% necessary this week, but you could go there. If you're like me and you're thinking, well, I'm going to take that risk, you could go there. For me, like I said, it was a decision between him and Zorko, and it just suits my buy structure better, and the fact that he's has a lower break even. But like I said, this break even, he might go up this week, but if he cops those tags in that hard match, he might not, go up too much more. So I wouldn't be surprised after I get him in that if he gets me a couple of 70s in the next few weeks. Hopefully not, but at least I know he's got the potential to go big. And then there's not too many others I think we need to discuss, except for maybe one. The one that a bit of a talk about Sam Doran. Now, he's gone 200s in a row. He's at 380k. And if we look at the CBAs for Essendon, he's at an uptick in his CBAs. So 84% in round 8 and 78% in round 9. So is this a pick? Now, I'm not too sure. Now, Sharp was going to be injured for a few weeks, so you can take away these 50% CBAs, so he gets to keep those. I can't really see anybody else. Merritt already did 63, so he might pick up a few, but it's not going to take him away from him. Jai Cudwell could be back, but when Jai Cudwell played in round 8 with him, he still had 84% CBAs. So I think this could be a pick. Might be a little bit risky for me, but it could be a pick at 380k. He's 389k, very cheap. If he could get you close to 100, I'm not seeing any spike scores there. And I looked back into his past history, and doesn't seem to be the one. He never seems to be a one to hit those big scores. Even when he's played those CBAs in the past, he's never been. So he's gone at Supercoach average of 89 and 90 before. I think that's probably what you would expect, around a 90, 100 guy. But he is available in the forward line and he's quite cheap. So here's where I looked. I went down. I went, okay, he's got 78, 80% CBAs here. So where else is he got 76 here? He scored a 60. So I don't know what happened there. If we go down here, he had 92% CBAs and he got 112, 84% CBAs, got an 84. So I don't see any scores over a couple over 120. This one here is over 120. He only had 36% CBAs. Another one over 120, he's got 68% CBAs. So he doesn't look like he has a high ceiling, but he looks like he could be a 90, 80 to maybe 105 type of guy. So if that's something that you're interested in, maybe you could go there. Now, I'm not going to talk about anybody else in the forward line. I don't think there are any other options at the moment. So that's it for the trade-ins. I think there's a few bargains there. Like my personal view on the bargains is probably the Durham, the Zorko. Durham's a risky one. Then you've got Zorko, Rank, and Finn Callahan. I think Zorko and Finn Callahan's positions are set. You know where they're going to play. They've got the least risk, as in, being moved around. Does Rank lose some CBAs at some point? Maybe, but geez, I don't know if I'd be doing that if I was the Adelaide coach, because he looked really good and really dangerous. He's also, both Rank and Finn Callahan are susceptible to tags, but I think Finn has actually passed the real tag risks. Let's have a look at that. So I could totally understand if you're going Finn Callahan this week. Also, in regards to buys, it's obviously Finn Callahan and Zorko should have the better buy for most players. And so Finn's got West Coast this week. You'd assume he has a decent game. And then Brisbane, harder game. Melbourne, not too bad. Sydney, St Kilda, not too bad. Carlton, not too bad. And then Hawks, Freo, Geelong. You'll have probably a rough few, Geelong, Essendon, Sydney. So a bit of a rough stretch at the end of the season. But the next few rounds could be okay for him. So if I was going to do an upgrade this week, I'd probably be looking at one of those three guys. They've all got advantages and they've all got disadvantages. Unless you can actually afford to get up to the big dogs. And if you can get up to the big dogs, I'm probably saying defense, Whitfield, Archie Roberts. Midfield, you got Bont, Hall, Bailey Smith, depending on their break-evens. And forward line, well, if you don't have the actual big dogs, if you don't have Petrarca, you're probably waiting till, after had 113 break-even, you probably wait after he's around 9 bye. Sheasel, everyone should have him. Pickett, now you're probably, around 12 bye. Pickett, you're probably waiting for him to come down now. He's had a 65. You probably get him less than a 500. And same. And then all these other, 450 to 500 forwards, you can throw a blanket over them and pretty much just pick one and hope he's the best one, or pick one that suits your buy or the price is right for you. All right, so we're going to go into captains and vice captains. Now, my vice captain and captain choices are pretty easy. I'm going to go vice captain Bont into Jackson and use probably either the Sharp or the Edwards. I've got so many players not playing on the bench. I've got loopholes everywhere, and I've got Kalani White too now. So, I've got plenty of loopholes, but do pay attention. Maybe you can't do that. So let's have a look for the rest of the team. So you got Brisbane and Geelong as the first match. I don't think I'd pick anyone out of this game. It's going to be a tough game. And so it's at the Gabba. I don't think, Bailey Smith and Holmes with his new positions not scoring the best. Bailey Smith, they might get Dunkley to run with him a little bit or be, paying a little bit of attention. So I don't think I'd be going there. The next game, you got Sydney and Collingwood. We're all expecting James Jordan to go to Dacos. Can he go with Dacos? I'm not too sure, but I don't think I would risk it. Sydney, maybe a sneaky Isaac Heaney or Brody Grundy, I think are both reasonable picks. If you've got those, chucking the vice captain on those, I think is absolutely fine. Gold Coast versus Port Adelaide. Maybe a Butters or a Petrarca, a sneaky vice captain options here. I think Butters has a reasonably good history. 191 he went against them last year, 120 and 81. So maybe that's something you can try. I don't see either of those being terrible picks for your vice captain. Both, again, those another 2 Friday night games. I don't know what the AFL is doing. That's 3 weeks in a row with 2 Friday night games. Stop it, AFL. Stop it. Then on Saturday, we've got Adelaide and North. Maybe a sneaky Harry Sheasel could be a vice captain, maybe. Or, I mean, potentially a captain if you wanted to go a bit different from the pack. If you've made your vice captain, you went vice captain Butters and he failed, maybe you go Shees as your captain. Maybe you don't have Bont. Melbourne and Hawthorn, I don't think I'd be picking anyone in that match. Carlton and Western Bulldogs, obviously Bont, I can get him as a vice if due to your loophole options. If you can't, I think he's probably a pretty safe captain pick. We saw even injured, he got a 163. So I think if he has a bad day, he's probably still going to get you a 120. So I still think it's just chuck it on him and you'll be fine. Essendon versus Freo, I think Jackson is going to monster whoever they put in the ruck, whether it be Peter Wright, Brian, Blackstone, doesn't matter. Luke Jackson's going to tear him apart. He pretty much won that game for Freo off his own back in the last quarter. He did split the ruck quite a bit with Mason Cox, but I think when the game is on the line, they want Jackson in the ruck. And so the fact if it's not a close game, maybe it's not the huge score, but he's delivered every week. I think he deserves a chance, and even his lowest score is probably still going to be 100 plus. I can't see him getting, 80 or a 70 or something, unlike the poor people who me in my other league, in my fantasy, who went Pickett last week expecting a big score and only got a 65. I don't see Jackson doing that to you. St Kilda versus Richmond. I don't think I'd be going anyone in this game. If Nas didn't play, maybe a sneaky Sinclair. If Nas plays, I don't know, coming back a week after, being sore and injury, I'd maybe just not risk that. And then last week last game you got West Coast versus GWS. I guess you could have a go of Finn Callahan if you wanted to. You could also potentially go Clayton Oliver if you've got him. I think there are better choices. And Lockie Whitfield, I think a lot of people would just go, yay, you're playing the Eagles, pick the players, any players playing the Eagles. He's gone 148, 124, 110. So I think it's reasonable to pick him. The only thing I'm worried about, if the Eagles get flogged and they don't kick many points, that takes away Lockie Whitfield's advantage of taking all the kick-outs. I mean, if the Eagles kick a score of 7 goals, 3, that's 3 kick-outs for Lockie Whitfield in the entire game. That's the only problem with picking backmen as your captains versus the Eagles. Sometimes the ball doesn't go down to the back very often when they play the Eagles. So I think it's an option, but I probably wouldn't go there. Again, I think there are safer options. Oh, and the one we missed probably is Sherry. If you've got Sherry versus McAndrew, that should definitely be in your plans. Probably, if I had my pick, I'd probably go Sherry into either Bont or Jackson. That would be my picks. If you got those guys, I would definitely choose one of those 2 options. Anyway, crew, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to join me on Thursday for the live video. Pop your team in my Discord in the Post My Team Here section, and we'll go through your team on stream. If you haven't already subbed, please sub now. Again, a big thank you to all the people that subbed out there. 500 subs we reached last week, which is absolutely amazing. If you like the video, please go ahead and like the video and leave me a comment down below letting me know who are you going to trade, what your trade's going to be. Is anyone going to take my advice of potentially not trading this week? And who are your captains and vice captains going to be? Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Take it away, Skip.